Hello and welcome to Yoga New Humanity. I'm Swami Christananda Brahmanati, welcoming you to this course, this class. The Expansive Heart Consciousness Kriya, preceded by a lesson examining one of the most amazing things we could ever begin to ponder. Our quest for love. How we seek love now in our lives, or how we tend to seek love, or identify with a feeling of love. Ultimately, the quest for love is that soulful, alchemical, transmutative, metamorphic forms of love. We want to move from a calculating mindset. Get out of that who loves who mindset. We want to experience love independent of who we are either in relationship with or not in relationship with. We want to experience love in ourselves independent of having some object outside of ourselves to define love upon or based upon that. So, our goal, we want to be able to hold love, the space for it, in the neutral mind, in the neutral heart space, independent of other people outside of us. We want to offer this space unconditionally, without expectations. Our goal is to discover the depth of love, to feel that love, primal love, inborn, innate, infused, the God spark within, the life and presence, the circuitry of the new humanity, which is love in its pure form. There's so many things that we do to avoid being in the heart space or in the consciousness of undefiled, untainted, unconditional love. We as humans, we want to experience love here in the physical dimension. We can't dismiss that even on our spiritual quest, even if we're just only looking for an experience of our higher self. We each have our own path that we take in our quest and search for love. We all can relate to the seeking of the ideal partner, the ideal companion, the soulmate. Now, we can't dismiss the fact that we are sexual beings. Not first and foremost, but that is a big aspect of who we are. So, keeping that in mind, not repressing it, as we do not in the practice of Kundalini Yoga. We engage that sexual energy within, we bring it upwards, we move it upwards through the Sushumna, up until the brain and the third eye, and ultimately the Sahasrara, 1,000-petaled lotus, light transmission center. We all seek profound relationships. There's this sacred yearning for other, and it's, some people have called it the religious impulse. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with institutional religiosity, but in terms of the meaning of religion, of the meaning of retying, reconnecting, or using just yoga the meaning of the word yoga, which is union, to yoke, to be united with, the ground of being, the pure primal consciousness. Brahman and Atman at one. I mentioned the neutral heart. Some of the other courses here on Yoga New Humanity will be introducing you to the neutral mind space, and this is actually part of the Neutral Mind series. But I thought that, seeing as how I personally right now am dealing with ignoring heart movements and currents, the heart space, I tend to overlook it. I tend to be cerebral. Some of us do that. We use many forms of avoidance. We sabotage things. Why do we do that? What do we sabotage relationships? Why do we self-sabotage? We all have a challenge, which is to come to define the self independent of other people or objects or pets, anything in the created realm. The true quest for the other is for the unified field, the God consciousness state, the God realized state. And you can be an atheist and experience the exact same thing as the accomplished yogi. You can experience samadhi through your highest self, which we would call in yoga the Atman, or in Christianity the Christ, the state of Christhood, not Christ a person or a last name. We have to consider the fact that we're in relationship right now, here and now. We're in relationship with ourselves and with others. We gotta ask ourselves, how are we in relationship? Not just with one person, but with all people, with everything in the created realm. We need to know this. This needs to be defined. So when we look closer at the reasons for our attentional, desire-driven, what we might call love feelings or love currents within, we have to ask what we're searching for. Are we searching for what I want, hope, or need? Hope for or need in another person to be manifest within myself? Am I looking for what I need to be integrating within myself in another person? Most of us do. And most of us do, as Guru Ratana, she jokes with her class. Guru Ratana, also a student who learned and worked with Yogi Bhajan, and she jokes, she says, we make lists. We make lists for our ideal partners. So we have these filters that we place upon reality and upon our relating. So we have opinions, standards, stories. We gotta know, we gotta distinguish. Are we relating to an opinion that I have about this other person? Am I relating to them through this opinion, or am I seeing them for who they are? Am I in love with this opinion I have of them? Am I looking at the things I do internally according to what the other person is, or what we want them to be? How do we evaluate our interactions with others? and looking how we deal with other people. Are we imposing, are we projecting what we think they should be onto them, onto the screen of who they are? Now, neutral witnessing. Are we doing it in ourselves when we relate to other people? Also, am I relating to that person the way they are, as they are in the state of being? Or according to the filters, according to the blinders, according to the superimpositions that we plaster upon them? Are my reactions, opinions, positionalities getting in the way of seeing them for who they truly are? So there's different ways of relating, is what I'm saying. Now, okay, there's the one way. A lot of us approach relationships from a couple of different questions. Okay, of being loved. I love you, you love me. Do you love me? I love you. And also the whole idea of giving and receiving love. How do we feel about that? Many conflicts due to different perceptions about the roles we play. Are we the giver? Are we the receiver? Do I have the right to receive? Do I have to give? You're not giving. I'm not receiving. These things arise from within us, causing conflict. There's a whole balancing act here that we have to engage in. If we're calculating and analyzing how much am I giving versus how much am I receiving, and who's the receiver right now and who's the receiver tomorrow or yesterday, who was it? Who's doing what? We have to admit it. We have these power struggles about trying to get our needs met, our desires. Desire is a strong force. The fiery desire energy of love, of the sexual procreative love that is part of the elixir of ultimately wholeness, which drives us to want to interact with others, to seek the other, which again is the ultimate other in the unified field. The pure conscious being of Atman in the state united with Brahman. So we got to look at it from a different way. That's what this expansive heart consciousness Kriya would be about. It's not about who loves who, not about who loves who how much. We want to have and create authentic relationships rooted in our heart center, a place where so many of us are afraid to be, myself included. So we need to practice and we need to open the space. Kundalini Yoga is a way. It's a great way. So, how can we be in a state of consciousness where we vibrate love independently of whether an object or a person is the object of our love or appreciation or not? Independent of any other person. Are we vibrating love? Are we love? Are we being love? Are we emanating love? If it's based on somebody else, if love is based on somebody else, it's chances are parasitic, toxic, codependent. Question 2, how can we be in the consciousness that we don't have any expectations? No formulas or calculating going on, no projections, no fantasy, manipulations, or no neediness. These are things Guru Ratana teaches. No expectations. Gotta get rid of those manipulations. Get rid of the expectations. See from an undistorted perspective. Question 3 is, how can we live in ourselves in a place where there is no resistance and where love just flows, where love just is? Sometimes we get stuck in the I gave, so I expect to receive. No. We can't do anything. Our actions can't be motivated by the hope of receiving something. So also, how can we hold the neutral space for ourselves and others? And how can our view of humans, of other souls, be transcended? We cannot have presuppositions, preconceived notions when we're going to seek yoga or union with another or with the great Wuji Supreme unknown. Are we obtaining the independent state of love within us, independent of any relationship or interactions or drama or stories that we attach to people or memories or habit tendencies such as samskaras? We really have to be the investigator and the observer. How do I relate? How do I relate to love? Am I in love? Not in love with another person. Am I in the space of love? In the consciousness of love? What do we do? Starting out, when we seek a companion, oh man, we're gonna get wholeness. I'm going to have wholeness, I'm going to have this grand experience, euphoric experience, this blissful experience, and another person's going to give that to me. I'm going to get it from another person who's out there, it's waiting for me, I got to find it. That perfect situation, it's out there. Guru Ratana calls this the fantasy soulmate syndrome. Oh my gosh, I found my soulmate. I found the other part of who I am. There was a ladies' camp Guru Ratana talks about, and they were meeting with Yogi Bhajan. And he said to the ladies that we're going to talk about soulmates. And the ladies were in this great expectation and yearning, and what he said is, straightforwardly, your soulmate is you. And like a party pooper, the reality of what he was saying had to move beyond that idealized fantasy syndrome that even these devotees had. The search for loving another person in a partnership has to be from a place of equilibrium, a place of balance. Balance, wholeness. We can't seek what we feel is missing in ourselves in another person. I mentioned it earlier, codependence. I know what this is like. I've been there. I think we've all been there in some way, in some sense of the meaning of that. Yeah, man, she's spunky. He's strong. He's convicted. He's confident. He's successful. She's successful. She's beautiful. She's brave. Now, relationships take on a whole new meaning when things become sexual. Everything gets exposed at that point. Hidden agendas. Instead of this notion of the ideal person that we want, the real person comes forth. And we have to... what happens is the denial stage of this false form of love, or infatuated-based love, or idealistically perverted forms of love. I say only that in meaning distorted. So, the shadow, the dark side, all the illusions and projections, our hurt inner child, the wounds, the battle wounds, the battle scars of relationships, of having felt love or felt emotions for this person or that person, or having an emotional story of what this person did to me, how they betrayed me, or even the false notion within yourself of how I'm untouchable, I'm playing hard to get. Again, everything, even love, has to be about balance. It's not a matter of that storybook, fairy tale, princess, prince, hero, heroine, archetypes that show up, that are projected into fairy tales and stories and myths, even scripture. We have these figures that we identify with when we read about or watch these things in movies, cartoons, films. None of those things are attainable. Happy ever after, yeah, we can be happy ever after, blissful. We can attain samadhi, we can attain bliss, we can experience bliss. And yet we can do it in the company of another person, or in the intimacy and in the space with another person. Or with the divine. Of how you know the divine in a very intimate way. All the projected fantasies, the wantings, again, that idealization that we find ourselves in, but not consciously, shows up archetypally in the very things I just mentioned. So we have to, again, be objective and see from the soulmate perspective that we are our own soulmate and we need to evolve. We gotta go and get into the space and embrace unconditional acceptance, so we can see the light and love that flows through everybody. But we gotta know that here first, inside here first. And Okay. It's impossible to be in relationship. It's impossible to be in relationship with another when we are not in relationship with ourselves and our soul. So, once we're able to see how we interact, once we're able to see how we love, and how we examine our inner being, putting under the microscope our reactivity, our patterns of reaction, our samskara habit tendencies, our relational history. Guru Ratana uses the word relationship saga. We have to go back to the source, the divine ground of being, higher self, whatever you want to call it. We need to practice this opening. We need to allow people to be as they are. We need to allow reality to be as it is. We need to be in the channel of peace, the channel of neutrality. Because if we want deep, intimate relationships, and we want to find meaning and share bliss with another person, we have to know it within ourselves first. It's not just loving yourself, or the idea of loving yourself, cognitively loving yourself through the form of an idea, or by saying it, or by trying to convince yourself that you are worthy and lovable. Throw the rational mind over the shoulder behind you, put it on a mental shelf, well, when we feel and experience from the neutral channel, the neutral mind, we find the self, we find the soul. And we practice basically taking this space and holding it independent of external happenings, external people, players in this divine drama, divine movie, divine film. The whole idea of embracing love, heart, love, consciousness, space within ourselves first, pure consciousness, the ground of being, in unity with the unified field. Until we align ourselves to primal love, the first sustained, everlasting form of love that comes from the ground of being, from the source of who we are, until we can hold that space, live in that space, be in that space, enjoy that space, we cannot share that space with other people. We won't be able to share it. Again, and all the manipulations, all the tendencies, all the distortions will get in the way. So there's the two thought systems as talked about in A Course in Miracles. The voice for love, the voice for God, which is the voice for God, or the voice of fear for the ego. And we can't allow fear to pollute, fear to get in the way. We have to be willing to be used by the higher aspect of who we are, the true self of who we are. And when we can do that confidently, and do that regularly, then we can remove the expectations that we have, those filters that we put in front of ourselves, the blinders, the lenses, the colored lenses that we put in front of our eyes. It's all about tearing down the barriers, tearing down resistance mechanisms, convoluted ideas of what some relationship will bring you versus what you can bring to a relationship. You see? So if we're going to really have the experience of love, we got to look within. Now, if you've never enjoyed the state that we're going to be exploring in this Kriya today, then the moment will never come. The moment of the isness, the sharing of true relationship, equanimity and tranquility, of the tranquility of giving and receiving, and mutuality, the state of mutuality. And when we look for when we not soulmates outside ourselves, as I've told you we shouldn't. A successful relationship will be built upon the fact that both partners, both people, will have experienced that space, the spaciousness of love, the heart space. Being able to hold the space and transform lower energies into higher energy frequencies. So how do we get into the space of love when we seemingly fall out of it? Say we're just in the midst of things happening, of life being hard, life being a burden. We need to simply make time, make the intention to return, to remember, self-remember. Okay, I fell out of the space, I'm human, I need to remember to be kind. I'll be kind to the person who is in front of me, thereby kind to myself, compassionate, accepting, allowing. That, Guru Ratana says, bless the person, the situation, and you will be able to in turn bless yourself. It's good to bless ourselves. It's good to bless others all the same, because it helps move us back into that space when we fall out of it, when we seem to forget, or we put up blockades to the experience of love, perceived, loved, experienced. Now, in terms of what we're going to practice, let's use the image of flowers. Eckhart Tolle uses it in talking about the flowering of human consciousness. He uses that image. Plant life experiences enlightenment through its blossoming of flowers and the fragrance that emanates and surrounds those beautiful manifestations. The fragrance of flowers, or the fragrance of sacred space, is very much the same. We want to relax. We want to feel love. We want to be confident and trusting and secure about the experience, the fragrance of love. We will be and we will love it when we can just be. That's what we need to do. And that's what we're going to do in this class. And I guarantee you, this will bring results. Rub your palms together. And place your hands at your heart center, thumbs into the sternum. You are equalizing, bringing into equilibrium the right and left hemispheres of your brain, the male and female polarity within. Adjust your hips, the sit bones. Align your spine vertically by slightly tucking the chin. Adjust the neck as needed. And pull the neck up. Pull it slightly back too, just to open the heart. Now bow your head down to your heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to begin.